Ohayo.
Ohio. Welcome to the So Japanese podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things that are uniquely Japanese. We are your hosts. My name is John.
My name is Ryusuke.
Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today, our topic is one of the most popular sports in Japan, even though it's not originally Japanese, and that's baseball. And then at the end, we're going to have a street-level Japanese segment.
Cool.
So yeah, we're going to kind of just run through the major differences between Japanese baseball and American Major League Baseball. You guys refer to American baseball as the major leagues?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys call the Japanese league?
Yaku.
Yaku?
Yeah.
Okay. So baseball was brought to Japan in 1872 by like an American university professor. And for some reason, the Japanese loved it. So you guys, you don't call it baseball?
Well, we know baseball.
Yes.
But in Japan, everybody call Yaku.
Yaku.
Yeah.
And that means field and ball.
Yeah.
Yaku.
Yaku. Yeah.
Yeah, baseball, really popular.
It's really popular. Like as a Japanese, every single dad has a dream about when they have a son, and then they wanted to play catch ball, which is in English play catch.
Yeah, we say play catch.
Yeah, but in Japan we call catch ball.
So that's like Japanglish.
Japanglish.
Catch
Yeah.
ball.
Catch ball.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad told me, because I have a older sister, and then she plays softball
Okay.
before I start playing baseball.
Okay.
So my dad did catch ball with my sister, and then my dad told me like, "Oh, I never thought I'm gonna play catch ball with your sister before you,"
Oh, okay.
because again, like dad is dreaming about like playing catch ball with son.
So that's how ingrained baseball is into Japanese society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
What Japanese sports would like a parent want their kid to get into?
Baseball.
Just baseball, huh?
For sure, it's baseball. Yeah.
No one wants their kid to be a sumo wrestler.
No.
Eat more.
I did it small little bit because there was competition, but it was just only once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like thinking back on watching Japanese TV, for sure you'll see baseball games played. And when they show that big sumo tournament, they'll show that. Any other like major sports they show on TV?
Soccer, football.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
And these days, volleyball and the ping pong.
Oh yeah, okay. Table tennis, yeah.
And what else? I think that's it.
Well, like since the Olympics in Tokyo, skateboarding is huge now.
Skateboarding is huge
in Japan,
now. Yeah,
right?
in Japan.
You even mentioned that there's like skateboarding schools, which is kind of funny because I feel like skateboarding in North America is kind of like the rebellious thing to do, right? You just learn on the streets
by yourself.
Even
I did,
right?
Yeah.
But like Japan has made it more efficient and created skateboarding schools.
Yeah,
that's funny. Let's go back to some Japanglish. So you said catch ball. That's playing catch, right? And I remember in Japan teaching English, and the kids would always say seifu.
Right.
So like, for example, if like they almost spilled a cup of water, they'll catch it and like, oh, safe, safe, safe,
safe. 大丈夫 safe, safe. Yeah. Like when you almost dropped something, but you catched it. Then they're like, 大丈夫 safe, safe, safe. They didn't touch on the ground.
So it's from baseball, right? Yeah. So nowadays, there's a few Japanese baseball players in the major leagues, right? The most recent, more popular one would be Shohei Ohtani, really good player. Retired now, Ichiro Suzuki. Is he like a god in Japan now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's the legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Shohei Ohtani popular in Japan?
For sure, yes. Yeah.
So
he's like a star.
Okay.
Ichiro is the legend. He's Ohtani is the star. Yeah.
Do Japanese people follow the American baseball leagues?
Well, yes and no, because like Japanese people focus on Japanese baseball,
of course,
but because of like Ohtani Shohei Ohtani and Ichiro Suzuki, those popular players, excuse me, in Major League.
Yeah.
So like we get the news
from those teams.
But I'll say 99% baseball fans still love to watch Japanese baseball first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's run down a few of the differences between the MLB, Major League Baseball in America, and the NPB, the Nippon Professional Baseball League.
Okay.
So in Japan, they use a smaller sized baseball. They have a smaller strike zone, and they use a smaller field. So maybe
I guess because of the body lengths are different.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Because obviously, like foreigner people is bigger than Japanese. Average wise, right?
Yes.
So it makes sense to have different size of the strike zone and
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense a lot.
Yeah,
smaller baseball, easier to hold.
Yeah.
And in America, in major leagues, there's no ties. You keep playing until there's a winner. But in Japan, ties are allowed. So in the regular season, the games are limited to 12 innings. And then in the playoffs, it's limited to 15 innings.
Yeah, because I remember when I was kid, because baseball mostly play nighttime, right? Especially good games.
Yes.
And that time, TV station focus on the game. But normally, because it's we call golden time, 7 p.m. through 9 p.m.
Okay.
So a lot of time there's a good TV show on the time, but because of baseball game, we can watch as a kid.
Yeah.
My dad always wanna watch the baseball game, so that he kept the channel on, and if the game is tied, and then the hour is gonna extend.
Okay.
So then the TV program push to keep play baseball game instead of next TV program. So then it goes until I think one time it goes until almost midnight.
Okay.
Then it tied and no game.
Yeah.
And I was like, but then they should play the drama I want to watch.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that much Japanese people wants to watch the TV game, baseball game, instead of any other TV program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over here we call it prime time. You guys call it golden
time.
Golden time.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of foreign players go play over in Japan, because I think other than America, I guess the next top quality league would be Japanese baseball.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think. I know Taiwan plays baseball.
Taiwan
South Korea
does.
plays baseball.
Yeah.
All of South America play baseball. I think that's pretty much it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So there's no limit on how many foreign players a Japanese team can sign, but they're only allowed to have 4 active players per game, maximum of 4 foreign active players per game. And they all can't be pitchers, or they all can't be position players. They need to mix it.
That makes sense though, because like it's a Japanese baseball league. So and then obviously a lot of foreigner player has more energy, more power. So if they really want to win, and if there's no rule, obviously
it'd be all foreign players.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Possibly, yeah. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
But they want to keep it Japanese, right? So how we've discussed this before about how Japanese view life. They prioritize group identity. They really care about fitting into society. They care about how other people think of each other. Cooperation within family is very important. Hard work. In Japan, they respect like the elderly. So there's a respect for age, seniority, and saving face is very important in Japan too. So apparently a lot of foreign baseball players, when they go to Japan, they quickly realize that they quickly realize that playing baseball in Japan is a bit different from playing baseball in America.
I see.
So they even call it like samurai style, where the team is number one. Fitting into the team is more important than
by
each
yourself.
Individual player.
Yeah.
And maybe the more North American mindset would be like me, or I'm the star. But it feels like in Japan,
teamwork.
Yeah.
We all together, then we're gonna win with this team.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Another difference is that in Japan they play less games. So in a season they only play 144 games, which sounds like a crazy amount too. Yeah. But in the States they play 162 games. But that also makes sense because in Japan there's only 12 teams, 6 per league. Yeah,
6 per league. 1 for Central League, and then 6 for Pacific League.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in American baseball, there's 30 teams, so more than double.
Yeah.
15 each side.
But also America is bigger than in Japan, so it makes sense. And then, I mean, American League, there's a Canadian team too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
So in Japan, all of the teams, I think, are owned by companies, right? Corporations.
I think only Hiroshima is still not corporate.
Like a family owned?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think in the major league, it's like a bit of, like, it's a mix, or the owner they might have a corporation, but I think it's still like single investor owners. And a lot of their logos are borrowed from the Major League Baseball. Yeah. So, for example, one of the more popular, famous teams in Japan, the Hanshin Tigers.
Which is, we have the flag here.
Right here, the scarf. Hanshin Tigers they play out of Osaka. And their logo is influenced by the Detroit Tigers logo. And then we have their rivals, the Yomiuri Giants, and they play out of Tokyo, right? Their logos look like the San Francisco Giants. And then another example, the Chunichi Dragons from Nagoya. They look like the LA Dodgers.
Yeah. Like, obviously I knew Japanese baseball first. Then when I I think when I came Canada, then I see a lot of hat shop.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has like all kind of exactly same logo.
Yeah.
And I was like, Junichi Dragons, Hanshin Tigers. Then I was like, oh no. Major League has exactly same logos. Then I noticed, Japanese people borrow that from them.
You thought the Dragons, the Dodgers were bootleg Dragons.
I was like, why so similar? It's almost
right?
same.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah.
And other than the major leagues, the professional league, the Japanese follow high school baseball just as much as they follow the professional leagues, right?
Yep. It's a big event.
Interesting. It kind of sounds like to me like in the States, I think people follow high school American football as much as they follow the NFL. So you mentioned that the biggest high school game is even played in a professional field, right?
Which is Koshien, which is the Hanshin Tigers main. Yeah.
And a funny thing, well, not funny, I guess, but high school players in Japan, they must shave their head.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
everybody has to be bald. Yeah.
And even their professional teams, they don't allow like facial hair.
I didn't think about that, but if I think, and then I don't think any players has mustache or beard.
You gotta keep it with the team. Everyone has to look the same, I suppose.
I think they kept like old culture of Japan.
And another interesting bit of information is that Japan actually broke the color barrier first in baseball.
Oh, really?
So like a whole 11 years before American baseball too. Because I think before, American baseball was split into like a color league.
I see.
They called it the Negro League. And I guess their white baseball league. And then in 1936, 11 years before black players were allowed to play in the regular baseball league in America, the team from Tokyo signed a U.S. black pitcher.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Which is very interesting because we say like Japan is so like insular, they're an island. They like to keep to themselves, but yet for the love of baseball, color doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's good.
Another thing you notice is that when you watch American baseball, before they were allowed to chew tobacco, they're like spitting all the time. And even now you're allowed to chew gum and players still spit. I guess it's just like a habit. But they don't do that in Japan.
I don't think so. I never seen. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Shohei Ohtani or Ichiro Suzuki spit on TV.
Maybe Ichiro did it.
Okay.
I'm not sure because he was there for a long time. Right?
So he was influenced by it?
Yeah, he was at Mariners.
Yes.
Then he went to Yankees and then back to Mariners.
Just to retire.
Or like over like 10 years or something. Yeah.
So I wonder if like Ichiro Suzuki made the news because the cameras caught him spitting in a game. It's like, wow, kitane. He's so American now. So disrespectful on the field, right?
Or maybe Japanese people think, wow, it's cool. Ichiro is like a major league player.
And then these high school kids in Japan are like spitting on the field.
And then,
the coaches yell at them.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to a game, which I think, what months are the baseball season in Japan?
Spring.
Okay.
April through October.
Okay.
So I think it's same as Major League too, no? Yeah.
So
like summer sports.
If you want to visit a game, go to a game, which I definitely think you should, because going to a Japanese baseball game, how they act, the atmosphere is so Japanese, right? It's if you're there visiting during spring to late summer, find time into your holiday schedule to catch a game. So tickets are mostly available during game days at the stadium, or you can buy them online. But with the exception to the Yomiuri Giants and the Hanshin Tiger game, when they play each other, that's like the major rivals, right?
I'll say, well, Yomiuri Giants is the biggest like team, like strongest team. I'll say like New York Yankees.
So like they have the most money.
Exactly.
Like
And
every
most
other
famous-
team hates them, except for if you are a Yomiuri Giants fan, right?
Exactly.
Same thing with the Yankees. Every team hates the Yankees
Because they get
unless you're from
all
New York.
good players.
Yeah, it's unfair, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Hanshin Tigers, it's more like fans.
Okay.
They love Hanshin Tigers.
They
like,
will die for Hanshin
exactly.
Tigers. Yeah.
For example, my dad.
Okay.
He's big fan of Hanshin Tigers.
Uh-huh.
And I used to be Chunichi Dragons fan.
Well, you guys are from Nagoya, right? So
Exactly.
that makes sense.
I'm from Nagoya. But my dad is not from Nagoya. But we
Oh.
live in Nagoya now.
Okay.
But
He's from Kansai.
no, he's from Kyushu.
Oh.
Because he loves one player like back then. And then he stick with the Hanshin Tigers since then.
Okay.
And yeah, like Hanshin Tigers, sometimes they're not even strong. Like they're the worst.
Okay.
But Hanshin Tigers fans never leave them alone. So like even the worst, they still say like, no, we're okay. We lost because of Yomiuri Giants or something. They always been positive. So I think that's why when Yomiuri Giants and then Hanshin Tigers plays, like Yomiuri Giants in general, there's a bunch of fans.
Yeah.
But for Hanshin Tigers, it's like, all right, we need to go and then cheer them up to beat the Yomiuri Giants. You know, because everybody know they're the strong.
Yeah, and the Hanshin Tigers are like the underdogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like we're gonna beat you up. Yeah.
Ticket prices, not so bad. So the cheapest tickets are 1,000 yen, about $10, obviously up high. And closer to field level, the tickets can go up to 15,000 yen, so about $150.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do scalpers exist in Japan? Like over here, outside of the stadiums or the field, before the game, you'll get people trying to sell tickets for like even higher prices.
Yes,
Or,
same. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which is we call dafuya. Yeah.
So if a game's sold out, I guess you can always go to the scalpers.
Just make sure like don't get the scam or I think
true.
basically it's illegal sell and buy balls. So yeah, you need to make sure.
And I think we mentioned in our JR Pass episode where they have those ticket sellers.
Right. Yes.
You can buy
Ticket
baseball
center.
games too, right?
Yeah.
So if it's sold out, you can do that. We recommend all the tourist sites recommend for, if it's possible, for you to find out where the home cheering section sits and sit close to them as possible, just to feel the atmosphere. Because in Japan, it's very, very different. Like they say that in watching a baseball game in North America, it's more of a relaxed experience.
Watching game.
Yeah. But in Japan, there's a lot of enthusiastic cheering, right?
Basically, like there's a band.
Yeah.
And
have
they
bands,
play all the instrumental like drums and trumpets and they play song, sing and
So it's the kind of more like the European football style where if you go to a game, there's a home section and then there's a away team section.
yeah.
In North America, not so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
You can sit anywhere, and
That's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it doesn't matter what colors you wear.
Mm-hmm. But in Japan, it's obviously you have to know which team you want to cheer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to know which side of seat you need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So find that out and sit close to them to get the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you need to know? I guess obviously beer is all sold
Mm-hmm.
in the baseball stadiums in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and they even have like workers who have like kegs
Yeah.
on their back,
Yeah.
and they will
That will give you the beer
Yeah.
on top,
how do you pour or
Pour?
squirt?
Pour. I think it's pour. Yeah.
Pour, yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll pour fresh.
Beer on a paper cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they'll run up and down
Mm-hmm.
the seats.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of food, typical Japanese street
Typical Japanese.
food
Yeah.
type things.
Yeah. Like bentos, and also they have hot dog and
Okay.
karaage, and
Of course.
some stadiums sometimes they do collaborate with the players.
Mm-hmm.
So then they have like special bento or special meal, the name with the player.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe like Shohei Ohtani's favorite bento meal.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
A very interesting part. So in North America, it's common for you to have a 7th inning stretch. So in the middle of the 7th inning, it's like they'll play like some kind of exercise music or dance music or sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." But in Japan, they do it a little bit differently. So the Hanshin Tigers made it popular where the whole stadium, they'll give out like balloons.
Or you can buy.
The long balloons.
Yeah.
And so once at the end of the 6th inning, everyone starts blowing the balloons. And then once the 7th inning stretch starts, which in Japan they call it the Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. Yeah.
When it's Lucky 7 time, they play songs or whatever, and everyone releases.
The balloons with the whistle.
Okay. So there's a whistle inside the balloon.
There's a whistle at the end of the balloon.
Okay,
So
yeah.
like when you blew, and then when you
Like
let
the
them
air
go,
out, yeah.
so like it has the sound like and like 1,000 or millions of balloons.
Yes.
On Lucky 7. It's kind of incredible.
It is.
It's beautiful.
How much garbage does that create?
Oh yeah, that's a lot. So like Lucky 7, there's a time kind of like stop, and then the security people came out to the ground,
Yeah.
and then they're ready to cleaning
it all out. Okay.
right away. Yeah.
So every team has their own colors of balloon and way to do it. But another team, the Yakult Swallows.
Yeah.
out
Tokyo
of-
Yakult Swallows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of Tokyo, they do.
Umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a cheap vinyl umbrella.
Blue umbrella.
Yeah, blue one because that's their team
Colors.
color. And then everybody opened the umbrella and then they kind of like dancing.
Okay.
Maybe like if you guys watch Totoro,
Okay.
and then Totoro does like a move.
Yeah, they
with
dance
the-
at the.
So basically like that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some etiquette rules one should follow watching a Japanese baseball game? So generally, Japanese fans don't boo the opposing team. They more cheer for their own team. So it's frowned upon to boo or heckle your team. I remember I actually went to a Tigers Giants game.
Oh.
And my friends that took me there were from Kansai, so we sat at the Hanshin Tigers side, and I was a stupid kid, and I was like, oh, why can't I cheer for the Giants, right? So I started cheering for the Giants, and then one guy behind me started yelling at me.
What are you doing?
Exactly. So then my friends had to say, "Oh, sorry, he's a gaijin. He doesn't know.
Yeah. See, so listeners, be careful.
Yeah.
If you go to watch baseball game, I mean, you need to know which side you're in.
Exactly. So saying that, if you are sitting at the home side or if you're sitting in the away side, you're actually maybe not allowed, but it's highly frowned upon, and you'll probably get harassed if you wear the opposing team colors.
Or you feel so uncomfortable. you can feel
The
everybody
tension.
watching you.
So don't do that.
Especially with Hanshin Tigers.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hanshin Tigers seems like they have the most diehard fans. Yeah. For our Seinfeld fans, that episode where Elaine wore Baltimore Orioles hat in the Yankees box seats.
Okay.
In the episode, a member from the Yankees organization told her, "You can't wear that hat sitting here." And she's like, "Why can't I wear the hat? It's just a fucking hat, you know?"
Wow.
So very much so, it sounds like that's how it is in Japan too, right? So we talked about baseball games, or watching a baseball game is more relaxed at in North America. But in Japan, they have organized cheers and dances. Not only for the team, but for each individual player for their team too,
As
right?
well. Yes.
So like as the batters are walking up to the plate, they'll have a song and dance just for that player. And everyone knows them. Everyone knows.
Well, yeah.
Right? The fans, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to join in with the song and dance, you can learn on, like, I'm sure, like the fan club websites and stuff like that.
For sure.
But
now
they say the
exists.
best way to learn is to go to the game, watch, observe, and you can actually ask like the fans watching in the whatever home or away sections for a lyric sheet.
Yeah.
It's like going to church.
Right. That's right.
So yeah, that's like the major etiquette, right? How about like drunkenness?
Well, you can be drunk. I mean, that's also the good things about watching baseball, right? Because like drinking beer, eating nice food, and cheer your team, that's like a best moment. And especially a lot of stadium now, it's a dome.
Okay, yeah.
But it's like here in Toronto too, right? Like also a lot of domes, they can open roof. But like, for example, Koshien, it's like all outside stadium. So like, you know, like you're outside with like huge stadium and drinking and eating and yeah. So, I mean, drunk is no good, but I went with my dad, and then he used to drink beer all the time. I was a kid. I was always get like Coke or whatever, and
yeah, highly recommend to go to a Japanese baseball game if you're there. Must do.
It's fun. Yeah.
Must do. That does it for our episode on Japanese baseball.
Hi.
We'll have other episodes covering other Japanese sports, popular sports as well. But baseball had to be the first one because it's the most popular sport.
Yep.
This brings us to our street level Japanese segment.
Hi.
Again, street level Japanese is a time where we try to introduce or educate and show you guys words that are informal, more slang, colloquialisms, can be seen as rude depending on how you pronounce it, but street level Japanese. So today's word is sekoi.
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 Sekoi yo.
Sekoi means it's to describe someone that is petty, cheap, or can even be like sly, dodgy, So not really positive.
No.
So we'll run through examples of how to use sekoi. So in terms of being like cheap, stingy, maybe you're out eating with friends and then there's one friend that is splitting the bill down to the penny, down to the yen. You would call them
せこ
seko. Again, when you shorten Japanese words, it sounds more slangy, right? Seko.
せこ
Another one is maybe there's a long lineup to the ramen shop and someone cuts in line.
あいつせこせこい
Maybe if you're at school and you cheated on your exam.
せこした私せこした
It's a little cheeky. So you're a little dodgy, sly. Sekoi.
せこい
Very good one. So that does it for today's episode. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We're still a very, very new podcast.
Still
right?
new, yes.
We're only like 2 months in, 3 months in. So apparently it helps us a lot with the algorithm of these podcasting platforms to push our podcast out. If our listeners would be so kind to follow, subscribe to our podcast, rate us 5 stars, give us comments, right? Any interaction.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
And that goes with YouTube as well. We upload our podcast onto YouTube. So if you want to also watch us talk, check out our YouTube.
Yep.
And then on YouTube, please like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications.
Yep.
That's what all the YouTubers say.
Yep.
So please do that. It would help us a lot to try to grow our channel and podcast.
Yes. お願いします。
お願いします。
はい。
ありがとう。
ありがとう。またね。
バイバイ。
バイバイ。